Hey, it's Joel Walsman, CEO and Master Electrician of Jefferson Electric. We're here on the east side of Indianapolis, and this array is underperforming. It's 25 kilowatts, but it's down about 40% because we're experiencing voltage rise on the feeders from the barn to the house. Let's jump right in and fix this. Hey guys, this video was brought to you by Span. Hey, we're here on the east side of Indianapolis. We've got a sizable project in our hands today. It's gonna be pedaled to the metal. We're looking at the house. There's an underground 2-inch HDPE conduit that a subcontractor has pulled from house to barn. See, the barn's got a beautiful solar array. Unfortunately, the feeders from the barn to the house aren't handling the current, and so we're getting over voltage. We're getting voltage rise on our solar array. So here's the barn. We're gonna be entering on the west face of the barn through the HDPE conduit, transitioning below grade to PVC, and there it is, gorgeous. Net zero energy. Absolutely beautiful property on the east side of Indianapolis. Don't cut the plastic with a knife. Sometimes there's a rip chip. It's just a nylon string. You can just pull it and it slices through. These are not equipped. We have gotten them colored. Because it's not big wire, we don't have any pull heads on these things. It'll be easy to make up, but just to protect the wire, unpeel the plastic by hand. The other thing we want is all of the conductors coming off the same way. So in this case, I want it coming off the top, which means flip the spool like that so they're all equal. Otherwise, if you have spools going opposite directions, some coming off the top, some coming off the bottom, then they're grinding against each other as they're unspooling. All right, we're pretty well staged at the barn. We've got a couple little questions to answer, but some of that's going to be dependent upon our material. So I'm going to back up to the house and get some of those nitty-gritties figured out. Watching the trees, these high tops can be wicked if you're not used to them. So we're really thoughtful about where we unloaded materials. It's easy to kind of start wasting labor right from the get-go without a clear plan. So materials that are, for the house get unloaded here, and barn over there, we're 250 feet apart. It's gonna be a decent wire pull. I'm putting no locks in these screw holes because they're ferrous metal, and putting the screws back in. I don't want them to rust, hence the no locks, and I don't want to lose them, hence putting them right back in. But removing the door reduces the amount of weight that this disconnect has. It's gonna be easier to mount and manipulate. So that's our new service disconnect. Yeah. Let's put it right there. Some cardboard down to prevent it from getting scratched, because everywhere that enamel gets scratched, it will rust. It's time to go to the basement. Oh, we're in the basement. This is where the magic happens. We're getting 2 Tesla Powerwalls on top of this gorgeous, about 30 kilowatt solar array with Panasonic modules, top tier. We've got a Generac with an automatic transfer switch. We've got a 200 amp main panel. So we're going to be pulling the new wire in today. We're going to be upgrading elements of the service, provisioning for the Tesla Gateway 2 and 2 Tesla Powerwall 2s. This is day one of the rest of our lives. This will be our new point of connection. We're going to replace the 3-barrel Polaris lugs with 4-barrel.
Do you think you can eliminate your junction box?
I was just thinking through that. So I'll talk through this with you, make sure it all makes sense. We're still entering from the service outside at this point. This LB goes away. We've got SER. The SER is going to secure to the bottom, come out secure to the bottom. And we're gonna loop it through here where the Tesla Gateway is gonna go. Oh, right. And we're gonna take it back to our point of connection, which is gonna be the splice box. We're gonna eliminate these 3-barrel, we're gonna put in 4-barrel Polaris lugs so we can add that set of conductors. Oh. Actually,
so the service is
I take that back. We don't need to, right? Because we've eliminated a set of conductors.
Right.
So we use those existing.
So the service is going to the Powerwall, or the Gateway.
Gateway, yep.
Okay.
We'll have a exterior disconnect because we're more than a nominal distance inside. And we'll come up to speed on the 2020 code with the emergency disconnect requirement.
But we're not doing that today.
We are.
We are doing the Powerwalls today.
Not the Powerwalls, no. And not the gateway, just the wiring route. Our,
But we can't disconnect this today if...
Right, I'm literally just gonna put a coil of wire there and come back that we can cut and splice. Cut and terminate next time with the Tesla gateway.
Gotcha.
So we'll come back in here, terminate, and then where I think I need the splice box is, I'll go ahead and interrupt this set of feeds in and out and put that solar gen panel right here. Hopefully I can fit above where the Powerwalls will be sitting. We'll get that clarified. Room for gateway, room for gen panel, be tight above the Powerwalls. So I think I need the splice box here so that I can splice in my gen panel. We're gonna have 200 amp overcurrent protection on either side.
Are we adding a panel that we don't need here? Because you can put the breakers in the gateway.
It's a good question.
We're not putting the gateway in today.
Right.
But I know you can put, have like the generation in the gateway.
Yeah, you have room for up to 3 breakers. So we'd have 2 Powerwall breakers and 1 solar feed. And then that's going to be a balanced equation. Then the 7.6 kilowatt inverter is going to connect elsewhere. So we probably could set the panel here and just pass through it for now, knowing that it's going to be pulled in favor of the gateway, and then free up the splice box for your end. Let's do that. Be a little crowded, but it's only going to have the 2 solar circuits into it. And I think the solar is going to come out. This is my thought. Top one solar, LB at about a 45. Put a 90 here. Shoot below the equipment. 90 up into the gateway. What will be the gateway panel for now. So we have 2 solar feeds and landing in that panel. And we have the main service feeders passing through here and back to the splice box.
Which we're going to have to extend.
Yep. It's Ryan. So we'll take that gen panel, we'll put it here. You get the splice box. I'll need some 2-inch parts and fittings, which I'll come get. I want to at least get that first bit of conduit in before we do the wire pull. But I should be ready for the wire pull in under an hour.
So, we're not putting a loop here. We're just landing it in the gen panel.
Yeah, or passing through the gen panel and using Polaris lugs potentially.
How are you getting power to the solar?
Using the multi-port Polaris lugs, we'll have a pass through, and then we'll pop off the Polaris lug to feed the load terminals. And because we've got 200 amp overcurrent protection on either end, we won't overload the feeders.
If you are aware of what you're saying, that's fine.
This is one of those 5:45 in the morning.
I was just thinking, if this is just passing through, you've lost the power. Like there's power feeding the inverters in the barn right now. And I don't see how these breakers will be tied into the bus, a live bus. And you're saying you're doing a pass-through lug that... Okay.
Good concern. This is your barn feed here. I'm going to end up pulling it out of that disconnect and terminating it in here. So don't dilly-dally on your end. Your end's going to be a lot quicker. There's a ton more work to do over here, in and out. So hopefully we can get that. As soon as you're ready, I should be ready to pull that wire. And as soon as that wire's pulled, you can make your terminations. And as soon as you're done with Tim, send them to me. And as soon as you're done, call Matt, unless you know how to do it, because those inverters, one or both, have been curtailed to prevent overloading that feeder and having a voltage rise and shut down. So we need to call Matt so we can bring those back to full. And
which won't happen until we have this side landed.
You might even want to do it now, honestly, while you've got power, because we're going to be shutting those inverters off before they get to peak.
Right, yeah, I was going to turn them off like
So,
right now.
yeah, so maybe do it now while you've got juice. Go ahead and reset them.
Oh, so that they're not curtailed anymore.
Not curtailed.
Gotcha.
And then you can turn them off knowing that they'll come back on full.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Okay.
All right, I think we have a plan. So it's only a total of 4 Polaris lugs. If we've got that.
Why could we do that with a neutral ground?
It's copper to copper, and it's 6 gauge to probably 10 gauge.
You think just the mains are aluminum?
Yes, just our ungrounded conductors are aluminum. So if we have a total
That we're running.
That we're running.
Gotcha.
Yep. So if we have a total of 4 Polaris lugs, then we put the J box here. As soon as this is free, you give it to me. I use it in the house. It's there's another consideration. Let's see what its rating is. See, 125 amp max. So we're gonna have 60 amp solar. We'll be fine. 60 amps of Powerwall, 60 amps of solar. We'll have to replace our main when the Powerwalls go in, but that's it. Okay, I'm gonna grab my fittings. We will go ahead and downsize our conductors to the inverters, reuse these conduits, and set your J-box somewhere in this vicinity. And that's clean. I like that. I did not bring a KO kit today, but I do have full cell kit. Plenty of space.
Yeah.
Ah, it's beautiful.
PVC.
It's coming together. That's all right, it's metallic. I wanna make sure there's a bond bushing on either end of this 1-inch EMT. Because this being a non-metallic housing, or, no, we can just ground the box. And then that'll carry through to the EMT.
Putting bonding bushings inside the inverter tends to be pretty tight.
Yeah, and you could put it in here, but actually you don't even have to. Just get those lock nuts real nice and snug and ground the box. Guys, I'm not the super planner. My C is below the energy line. I've told you that before on the disc. And so when something starts to come together, I get stoked because I didn't necessarily plan it out perfectly or completely.
Probably use 2 LBs.
Just one in the back of comes straight in the back of this box.
Oh, so you want me to stub up a lot higher? Mm-hmm. Okay.
You don't want to drill through that for sure.
I was planning on coming in down here and then going at the bottom.
Yeah, you can come a little higher, come right in the back.
Okay.
And through the wall. The wall's thick enough so you'll use pipe. Watch out, there's stuff inside the wall, so drill carefully. Hi-ho, hi-ho, it's off to work we go. Hi-ho, 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 hi-ho. Are you the lawn guy?
What?
Are you the lawn guy?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. It's nice to have something to listen to.
Yeah.
How long does it take to mow all this?
5.5 to 6 hours.
Woo!
Yeah. So I'll be running it all day today.
Yeah.
Where are you guys gonna be? Where are you guys gonna be sitting stuff down?
I appreciate that. Behind the chicken coop and running on out into the yard.
Right.
And it'll be just small cables laying in the grass, hard to see.
Yep.
So just make sure we talk.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, right here was the place. He was going to put the 2 power walls right here and then hang whatever the control panel or whatever it is that goes over the top of it.
Gateway here and
Gateway
actually a gen panel there.
Whatever that
But
means.
Powerwall's here.
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool.
Yeah.
Probably when Powerwall day comes, we'll end up taking smoothing this out a little bit.
He said setting them on the floor.
Yeah. They'll still be mounted to the wall, but the weight will be on the floor.
Okay, all right. Yeah, well, you're welcome to an 1840s basement.
Yeah.
1840s.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Hate to drill the wood. I don't think I'll have to today.
What's that?
I'd hate to drill the wood. I've done that. Burned up 2 hole saws going through a 18 by 18 timber.
Yeah. Well, we already had to do that when we ran all the power because we had to go up through those. They're 9 by 9 beams that run the whole foundation. So I had to come up with a method because nobody could figure out how to do it without going up through my floor. and hit the walls. So we ended up, yeah, I just did it. I'm like, I'll do all the boring.
Wow.
I did all the pulling on this.
You just eyeball it and shoot at an angle?
Just got an idea, did the math down and just getting the right angle.
Wow.
It's just basically using one of those long bore, it was like an auger bit. And yeah, those are oak beams, or they're oak and poplar and all that. Yeah, it was real Joe. I could show you the hole on the guy's first try. It's right up by my front entry.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I went
We'll start at the front.
This side of the baseboard. Yeah, right up through there. I'm like, all right, this isn't.
Hand it over.
Yeah, this isn't gonna work.
Wow.
So yeah, Powerwalls right here, and so that gives plenty of space to walk around. I mean, Rob said they kind of come out so far and all this stuff.
Yeah, 2 of them double stacked will be about 10 to 12 inches.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Nice. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Quick response.
Anything else? Yeah. Well, I said I'm just on the other side of the wall upstairs.
That's great. Here's your hole saw for 1 inch. That's 1 3/8. However, that's carbide, so you're gonna need a pre-drill.
I need a hole saw for 2 inch.
2 inch.
I have a step bit that could have been.
Nice. Well, now you've got that. The 2 inch is still over there. I need SDS plus 3/16.
3/16. It's probably in my car.
It's probably in my bag that I can't find. Okay. Yeah, that's under a lot of pressure, isn't it? You're gonna just put a 22 on that, just straighten it up?
To straighten it up.
Yeah. Instead of trying to force it over?
You can. It's probably fine. I think it's gonna end up lining up right where we want it.
Nice. So the whole reason we're out here today doing rework is this. The existing feed underground to the house stops off at a couple different places, and it's undersized. So we're getting resistance, and that resistance is causing voltage rise at the inverters. That voltage rise is causing them to over voltage and shut off. They're outside of their voltage operating range. That operating range can be adjusted, but it just rises until it hits the peak of whatever operating range we've set, and it drops out. It's the opposite of voltage drop, or it's the same thing except from the perspective of the other end, because now our generation is here at the barn and our distribution is going to the house. So the deal here is Tim and I are working together, right? Core value number 1, relationship, people over profit. Core value number 2, integrity, uncompromising virtue. Core value number 3, excellence, zeal for the highest standard. So we're gonna get this cleaned up. Tim's contributing. Man, he's a fantastic guy. Some of the information that we're operating on probably wasn't totally dialed in, and he's stepping up to the plate. We're stepping up to the plate, and we're gonna have this solar array in full production, because right now we've curtailed it to limit the current flow to the house to prevent over voltage by reducing resistance. Solar load, here goes. Right there. Ooh. Easy, Tiger. It's dry right now. It's great. So PVC Schedule 80 is required in our jurisdiction where the conduit is subject to physical damage. Subject to physical damage is subject to interpretation. Here, if it's exposed and it's below 8 feet or above grade, it's subject to physical damage. That's the practical definition that you'll encounter by far and at large. So I'm definitely using PVC down here because you can see how damp. This is actually outside the house. The foundation of the house stops right here. This is outside, and the reason there's a hole there is for the well to get swapped out, and that's the well to the house. So they can come in from outside, they can pop a lid, and they can come straight down, all while doing the swap in the comfort of a climatized home. If it happens in the dead of winter, it's pretty slick. So I'm using PVC because I think EMT would corrode badly. Rigid is overkill by a long shot. What would you use? Drop some wisdom in the comments if you could. Pop the panel covers off, look for the treble cable, or you can talk to Tim upstairs.
What's treble cable? that different than an SCR?
Yeah, good question. It is our new replacement. We go direct with the distributor, master distributor. So it's cheaper than Romex and it's got better ratings. 8 gauge ground instead of 10 gauge. It's got 75 degree C insulation. It's direct burial rated. It's sunlight resistant. It's like UF cable at a lower cost than Romex. It's only slightly harder to work with.
It looks like SCR.
Yeah.
This is...
And it might actually be SCR out there.
I think it is SCR.
Okay.
This is what it looks like.
Nice. Trable's pretty similar, but it's a little more brownish.
Okay.
Nice. So down here on PVC, you've heard me talk about it over and over again. I'm not concerned about expansion fittings because in the basement here, it's gonna stay 68 degrees year round, right? It's gonna fluctuate very, very little. So that PVC is not gonna see expansion and contraction. We would definitely want an expansion fitting and we'd definitely wanna loosen these fittings up, minis up a little bit so that pipe could slide in place, but it's not gonna swing more than 15 degrees down here, tops. And so, not worried about that now. Oh my goodness, that worked beautifully. Wow, T25 Spax. That's a triple guard screw, and my tap cons weren't long enough. So, bro, it held marvelously. Marvelously. That's kind of an extra anyway, so I'm gonna say my extra is extra good. We're kind of prepared for every eventuality on this wire pull. We've got shop vac, powerful shop vac, and some baggies so we can suck the line through in a string line, lightweight string line, not this stuff, so we can suck the line through if our fish tape's not long enough, because if we didn't do that directional bore. So I'm anticipating that it's less than 250 feet, but 250 feet is kind of a magic length, right? This mule tape, 250 feet. The fish tape, 250 feet. So it's right on that tipping point where we might have to get creative. But I think we're prepared. Famous last words. So here's the dilemma. This 250 foot fish tape doesn't reach to the house. So we're gonna use the string and baggie trick and literally tie the string onto the puffiest, lightest weight baggie we can muster and suck it through with a shop vac the whole way. Looks like our conduit's dry. That fish tape's coming out dry. So that's gonna help. A nice, dry, smooth, continuous conduit. It's worth a shot. Now hopefully this is long enough.
Right.
These things are longer than you think.
Right, but going out there, 90, back to the house
it's pretty far. All right, feed it in there. And then the trick is momentum, the law of momentum. Once it's going, we don't want it to stop because it's hard to rebuild, particularly when there's a bunch of string. Yeah, so I would say, yeah, peel off some nice and straight, so if it ends up being in a snag, you have a chance to free it, because it's going to suck and suck fast, and it won't take 60 seconds to pull it to the house.
Okay.
Unless it's really just struggling. And it could struggle.
No. Or it could come off the bag, or, you know.
It could, yep, pull it right out. Got another bag here. What's up, Cliff? I'm all squared away. You ready?
Yep, ready to go.
Here goes.
Make sure that it keeps going over the screwdriver, and then I'll pull this.
Woo. There it is.
It's gone.
We ran out of string.
He hung up. We don't have any string.
Pull the whole thing through?
Yep. It went so quick.
I thought eventually that, but I was like, you know what? Probably already there.
It like pulled the string out of
Both of our hands.
both of our hands. We were holding it and it just ripped down, and I went, yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that. I'll just let it dangle around. Do you have the string on your end?
Yep, got the whole thing. It's in a wad in the shop vac bucket. I'll come your direction, see if we can get it salvaged.
We could probably maybe tie your rope onto the end of it to get it some extra length. After it's already got all that momentum, it might be able to pull your rope.
I like that. That's a great idea. And then we can hang onto the rope to shore.
Yeah.
I can see the headlines now. 2 goons take center stage on national television. You guys are cracking me up. That is so funny.
It just ripped out of our hands and just was like banging against the top of the conduit. It's like, oh yeah, it's gone.
Oh, it's so funny. Okay, here's the downside. Hopefully we don't have, yes. Because it has to be super smooth. What do we do?
It was pretty strong. It might be able to pull the mule tape, I don't know.
It's possible. I say we just pull it, cut it, retie it. Does anybody have a knife on them? You know, pull out as much as we can from the knot.
We just need to be able to grab the other end of it.
Okay, I can guarantee you this time you'll be fine. Let's keep it right close to the ends. Put it right there. Yep, I like that. And then I'd say have somebody positioned here to spool it out, because I don't think the shot back will be able to pull the whole spool around, you know? So you might have to spin it, and we might have to. All right, let's do it again.
Are you ready?
You guys ready?
We think we are.
Okay, here goes.
Get ready at the mule tape. Mule tape's in. Got it. Sweet.
We have probably 10 feet on this end.
Perfect. All right, I'm gonna tie it off right here. Nope.
Okay.
You guys go ahead and tie that wire pull on. Call me when you're ready, and we'll pull it.
Okay.
See ya. You always tie off your tape. Protect your fish sticks. Because what's this wire pull worth right here, right? 3 guys working on it. $50, right? Just tie it off. Tie it off. Last thing I want to do is it snags on my foot as I'm walking away, and I yank it right out of the conduit. Has that ever been done before? I doubt it. The neutrals are the only thing we really want to keep clear here. Everything else self-identifies. The ground is shared in size to the largest. Let's talk about the wire we use. This is THWN-2. That means we've got 90° C rating in a wet location, which that underground pipe is most definitely. We've upgraded to a larger size aluminum to combat the voltage drop. So 6-gauge copper is acceptable, but here we're using 2-gauge aluminum and 1-gauge for the inverters respectively. Grounds do not get upsized for voltage drop. However, the code does say to the proportional extent that the ungrounded conductors are sized up, the grounding conductor is to be sized up as well. So if we double the size of our ungrounded conductors, we double the size of our ground. So the ground is 6-gauge copper in this case instead of 10-gauge like it would typically be. And then the neutrals, here's the ticket. You never undersize wire, never. You can downsize wire to reduce expense and take advantage of all the provisions of the code. However, you never undersize, and there's a difference. So the neutral in this case is carrying only the unbalanced load, which is really, it's like milliamps. It's just for the inverter controls. It's very small. It's well under an amp. And but we can never downsize the grounded conductor or neutral smaller than the grounding conductor. So we've got 6-gauge copper neutrals, grounds. We've got 2-gauge aluminum for the 40 amp output inverter, which is 32 amps continuous. And we've got 1-gauge aluminum for the 50 amp continuous output inverter, which is on a 60 amp breaker. So lawnmower's already been through here, so we're not going to tear up our wire. What we're doing is we're taking the 2 spools that don't fit on our racketeer stand, and we're just going to go ahead and lay them out in the grass nice and straight so that they'll pull in real smooth. and our racketeers won't be overloaded there. We could put one on the outside if we really wanted to, but this will work fine. Let me just kind of get it all on there and we can go at it with 2 rolls of tape. I'll like just get it kind of hitched on. This one can come up a little further. So I don't want them crisscrossing like that. No crisscross applesauce when you're pulling wires, especially if it's a tight fill. 1.5 inch HDPE is not readily available per the directional bore professionals I spoke to. So we did 2 inch. Sure glad we did, because we could go with aluminum conductors as opposed to copper, smaller copper conductors, and fit it all in here and have plenty of room to spare, reduce our costs, and simplify, reduce the resistance of the pole. All right, last one, Tim. Slap it on there. Yeah.
You're under the impression we have about 1 foot of extra on each end.
Is that what Tom said? We have at least 1 foot of extra on each end, put it that way. I'm feeling pretty good about that. All right, do we have another roll of tape? This is where you have to use electrical tape. You cannot substitute duct tape. You've got to have, Tim, you want to kind of hold that nice and straight. No, nothing but electrical tape, because you got to have that stretch. And what you're doing is you're pinching the conductors together, right? All the individual wires. And that resistance is what's going to hold these supplemental conductors in, because the only thing that's actually taped on are the 3 copper conductors. So you've got to use electrical tape. You've got to bring it around tight. You can't get lazy. You've got to be diligent. There are a lot of wire pulling methods. Man, if you're pulling big cable and union shops, comments. If you're pulling, the basics are always the same though. Don't come up short on your wire, because you'll waste a ton of labor. Protect your pole. Use electrical tape.
Cross wrap.
Or pull heads. Cross wrap. What else? Clear the area so you don't tangle your conductors or trip and fall. So we'll clean this up before we start our pole. Everybody's on stable footing. Have a means of communication between both ends of the pole. Think about how you're setting up your pole. See, we're setting it up outside as opposed to in that crowded basement. So we've got plenty of space to lay everything out here. And the basement, we're pulling not up like this, wearing our backs and shoulders and necks out, but we're pulling like this with a concrete wall to brace against. So we're gonna have it's ergonomic, that's what I'm saying.
Something you would want to do every day.
Yeah, I will. Every day.
It's similar to a hot stone massage.
Or cupping. You want to hold that so it's not bouncing around? Yeah. Yeah. Diligence is not over. Every wrap counts. And then one thing you want to do is smooth those edges. So we've got some knobby edges here, right there. That's going to want to catch on any and everything. That, thankfully, with HDPE, which I love, there probably are no shoulders except maybe where they turned that 90 there. They may have used a fitting. So we're here in the barn. Your fittings guys are inside the inverters. We're here in the barn and I'm extricating this panel. I'm going to take it with me to the house. Do you guys have T25 Torx?
Yes.
And what's happening is we've got to get the solar outputs to the house. Not only overcoming the effects of voltage rise, but we also need to get the solar outputs individually to the house so we can CT them for the Powerwall installation. We can't CT them out here. So this is going to serve all purposes in one.
We're putting lubrication into this pipe so that the wire will slide through the pipe a little bit easier. Reduce the friction in there. I wouldn't be surprised if this took 10 minutes or more, but hopefully it'll go pretty quick. It is a long pole, so just feeding nearly 300 feet of wire is going to take a while. Any lube we put in after the wire's in there isn't going to help very much, because it's really the head that's where all the friction's at.
Yeah,
So do maybe 4 or 5 feet at a time. That's about what we can pull off the spool. All right. Gotta find a better way to feed this.
This mule tape is fantastic. It's easy to hold on to. The flat allows you to like wrap it around your hand without getting nearly as much burn. Like, I think this is off-brand mule tape, but it's all the same to me for what I've done. We don't do any real big stuff. I won't tell them it's here. Forgot to bring the paper towels down. That's pretty close. Let's see. I'm guessing 20 to 30 more feet.
20 to 30 more feet. We'll try that. It'll be close.
Just kidding, we're here. You knew that. I was just joking. Don't cut anything until I get the panel in and I run it through the conduit. I've got a dab of about 12 feet of conduit here, so definitely do not cut it until we communicate, but I think we're there.
You gave enough, or it's just inside the building?
I think I have enough.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right, thanks.
Also, Kevin.
I'm drilling a weep hole in the LB because that groundwater, I almost guarantee it's going to get inside that pipe, condensation or otherwise, and it's going to roll this way as it fills up. And we want it dripping onto the floor, not running through here into our electrical panel. Solid. All right, almost out of tap crowns. So here's what's on the docket. We need to put a KO closer in all of these holes. It's required that every panel, every electrical enclosure be sealed up with equal or better construction as the wall. So these knockouts are made for this purpose. Couldn't just put duct tape over it, that'd be a violation, or electrical tape. It's gotta have similar or better, equal or better, in fact, I think is the wording. So we'll get this terminated because we're gonna turn off power soon, and I wanna have absolutely everything that we can do done before power goes off so that we're working in the light. Power's off for a minimal amount of time. Just getting all squared up, all squared away. We've installed 2 Tesla Powerwall 2s, the Tesla Gateway, 25 kilowatts of solar. There's energy redundancy in the form of a generator, and there's one thing that's still missing. You owe it to yourself to click the link below, because the future of energy, monitoring, control, resilience, extending renewable energy resources by as much as 40%. If you're a contractor tired of wiring up plugs, want to offer higher value to your homeowners, your consumers, want to improve your margins and profits, you owe it to yourself to consider SPAN. Now that we've got this panel installed, our 2 inverter outputs through the conduit, 260 feet to the destination, boom. It's time to, and this is just temporary, you're gonna freak out. The customer has signed on the dotted line and submitted cash for the Tesla Powerwalls. We've placed the purchase order. We're waiting on them to come in. So this is legitimately only temporary. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna route 3 conductors, possibly these 3 right here, through this connector to this breaker, and we're going to Polaris lug them right here. We're going to make sure there are no exposed live parts. It's secured to the wall, it's taped up, and when we come back, we're literally going to flip the main disconnect off. We're going to cut it, mount the Tesla gateway 2, terminate the conductors, add the Powerwalls, and walk out of here. 2 guys, 1 day, flat. So, it's temporary. Don't freak out too bad on me. These Polaris lugs are fantastic. Man, I was probably a couple of years into the trade before I encountered them, and they're just absolutely gorgeous. This is a 4-port Polaris lug. It's rated for, each port is rated for either a copper or a aluminum conductor, so you can combine up to 4 conductors. It's like a $40 connector, but it's fully insulated. You can come in this one, you can come in this side or this side. They come in all different configurations. You can get small ones like this, 4 to 14 gauge Polaris. That's a double barrel. You can get big ones like this, and this one's rated at 250 MCM to 6 gauge or KC mil. They still say MCM. I thought that was dated, but man, these things they're quick, they're reliable, they're copper and aluminum, they're multi-conductor. Sweet. They're just a little pricey, but they respect your labor. Polaris lugs come with goo to improve the connection. So I'm just smearing that goo around, getting it in place, making sure there are no exposed conductor. Just be real kind of moderately meticulous about how we make this up. You've never seen the words me and meticulous in a sentence before. Ain't that right, Bob Neal? I'm using this mechanical lug for the grounds because it's just a very durable, very good quality connection in a cost-effective manner. Costs a fraction of those Polaris lugs. And remember, the ground is for safety, so having it exposed and uninsulated is not a problem. This is grounded, that's grounded, not just internally, but the cabinets themselves. So here's my ground connection. I'm actually going to strip that back further, double it over. I think I can go ahead and size up my first conductor. First cable. Here's the thing, I want to have plenty of spare cable length without cutting my first one too long and leaving my second run short, because I've got 2 runs coming from this location, 1 into the trough and 1 to the exterior disconnect. Can't be too aggressive when you're stripping this cable. With a fresh utility knife blade, you'll just slice through into the conductor itself and you'll regret it. So just take it easy. These SER cables are so rigid sometimes, especially this one being in the cool basement. And you set it in the sun, it'll soften up, but you gotta strap these things a lot of times because they're big and bossy and they're not gonna stay otherwise. If you're just running straight shot, you can just do staples, but no sir, not here. Let's go a little bit further. I have to strap this nice triple guard spacks in this old growth wood. So this Tesla gateway that's sitting here will have 200 amps in, 200 amps out. It'll have a total of 60 amps, 240 volts backup capacity with 2 Powerwalls, and it'll have a 100 amp feed to this generation panel. So they're gonna be set up here, solar, battery, and generator power. They're gonna be, plus fruit trees, chickens. I'm coming here if the apocalypse hits. Okay, I'm closing in. I'm trying to do absolutely as much as possible before I kill power so the transition is quick and short. I've terminated all the conductors in my solar generation panel. I've made up my temporary connections where my Tesla gateway is going to be installed, and now I'm ready to use my 1000 volt Apex insulator to reach into the box and disconnect this cable here from the old disconnect outside and route it straight into this box. So I'm essentially eliminating the former disconnect on the exterior because now we're upgrading to 200 amp disconnect instead of the 100 solar only disconnect. So let's do it. It's a little nerve-wracking. Disconnect is off. The load has been taken off. Whew. It's time to clean up, relocate tools upstairs and get that 200 amp disconnect in. Boom. That's electrical symbol for disconnect right there. There's nothing on it. Okay, operating voltage, photovoltaic system AC disconnect. Operating voltage, operating current. We're just gonna put 240 volts, 200 amps, because the disconnect we're using is also a service disconnect. So it's gonna say emergency disconnect. It's gonna say like 6 things. All right, we're gonna touch base with Cliff, but Cliff needs me to be the water boy. Bring him some caulk? Sure, yes sir, absolutely. Or do we both have one that's the same?
I think we have ones that are the same.
Don't make me fight over a caulk gun with you, Cliff. Yeah, I like this caulk gun. This is a good one. Okay, that looks good. So we'll caulk up the outside. That's watertight. Ah! Cool. Yeah, this is great. We'll just buy one new LB, and then we'll take the length of pipe, and we'll bring it. So, male adapter, lock nut, bushing, LB. And we'll have everything we need to bring it right into there.
And this is 1.5 or 1.25. It says 1.5 rigid on it.
Yeah, 1.5. So, do you want to let your fingers do the searching? There's a Lowe's and a Home Depot super close to here. I bet they've got it. Everything we need.
And then I confirmed, confirmed with Tim, the homeowner, the location of where this wire goes.
Nice.
And there's a junction box below that panel, and I'm pretty sure it's tapped inside there.
Okay, yeah, we'll just leave it alone.
Leave that side alone.
Yeah, and we'll put some big blue
because it'll
wire.
be energized as soon as we turn power on to the other.
Yep.
To the rest of the barn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how about you do that? Just to recap, that being run for parts. Just to recap, that's 1.5 LB. We're gonna cut this back. We're gonna use the piece we cut out to glue from the LB to male adapter. We're gonna do a lock nut and bushing. So we're looking at male adapter, lock nut bushing, LB, plus 4 Polaris lugs rated number 1 to number 6. Eight. 1 to 8. 3, 2, 1. Ah, wow. And 3, 2, 1. I think that's the one that's loose. Yep, turns out it is. Okay, let's pull that apart. And that gets shoved in there. We'll mortar that up, and that's that. We're gonna pull the meter. We're gonna take these conductors, run them out of this hole that they're in currently with an LB, an LL. Hold it like a gun, openings on the left side. That means it's an L shaped with a left opening. L shaped body with a left side opening. That's gonna go here. Disconnect is gonna be right here. And then we're gonna come back out of the bottom of that, just like this. That's it. Can you picture that? That's it right there. The reason we're increasing to a 2.5 inch LB here is kind of interesting. It's substantially larger than the 2 inch. I mean, you can see the difference. It's also probably 3 times the cost as well as 3 times the cubic capacity. But LBs are stamped on the cover with the size and number of maximum size and number of conductors, and this one is only rated for 3 4/0. And what we're going to be doing is bringing 3 4/0 aluminum conductors plus a ground through this, so it's going to be above its max and it's going to be real tight. Not only that, but it's going to be an SER cable, so getting through this and the capacity of this is going to be fine, but then the LB is where we're actually going to reach the pinch point. So we've got a 2.5 inch reducer, 2 to 2.5. And so the reason to do 2 inch at all is strictly because, like in this case, that 45 is smaller and we've got space constraints, because what we could have done is put the disconnect right there, but it would have been like, the disconnect! So we're putting it down below where it's going to be more discreet, and we're going to have constraints coming in, and the 2 inch parts are more cost effective and readily accessible because we don't have a big 2.5 inch tote like that. It would have to be double that size. So we're maximizing the advantage is what we're doing. Maximizing the advantage. That's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we can do before we kill power, and I think we're ready to notify the homeowners. All right, I'm gonna go make sure the generator's disconnected. All right, let's pull these out. I'm probably gonna be a little bitchy here for a while until this power's back on. Apologizing in advance just in case. I'm okay with the conversation. Is there anything you can do to straighten it up, or is it pretty straight?
It's totally straight.
Okay.
You pulled it from the terminal down to the bushing.
There it is. Okay, there's one. Let's do another one. Tim, how about this? Large flathead screwdriver. Take the LB cover off.
The new LB cover off?
No, there's one immediately on the inside of this. It's up tight in the corner, and it's pinned by a water pipe. It's real tight. So take a large flathead, pull that off. The trough is open on the inside right here. Follow these conductors into that trough and take them, just these, out of the Polaris slugs. And
What's the flathead for those?
you'll
Or sock or Allen wrench?
probably need, oops, this one here to make quick work of it. And when these conductors are disconnected, I'm gonna try to pull them out of here, and then you can take that LB off and apart and get it out of there.
Okay.
Flathead, light source, ratchet.
Those 3 conductors are feeding into these various Polaris lugs. We're going to pull them, just them, out of these 3 guys, and then Joel's going to try to remove those wires all the way out back towards him. That is, if we can get this cover off with this in front of it, and trying to get this screwdriver back in here. So here we are in the depths. We have a short length that we need to get pressed from this box out of, but really into this LB, which is then exiting out the front of the house, which is the easier direction to pull it. But in either case, this guy is going to be a major problem, because I can maybe get these wires to this space, but then it's still not a straight pull. Maybe I can wiggle them down. I probably can, actually. And I certainly can't pull them into the house. We're going to have to pull them out. So, brute animal force. Alright, here I am, still in the depths. Not alone. We're going to cut this guy that we got pried just out of the LB. We're going to cut back at ourselves, like OSHA would definitely approve of. And then hopefully that'll let Joel pull that the rest of the way out, give us some wiggle room for the other guys, and we'll repeat the process.
Cut it?
Yes!
You tried pulling on another?
No, they're not cut yet. I couldn't get any others like out of the box, out of the LB far enough to cut. But
Holler real loud when you want me again.
will do.
Whew. Man, things have been going smoothly. I've been kind of just flying along here. Top side of this meter base is hot. I know you're all freaking out again. If you're a homeowner, don't even watch this video, okay? If you're a DIYer, drop off. It's time to go away because it's only getting crazier from here. They've got a generator with an automatic transfer switch at this location. So when I killed power, I had to walk around to the generator, which was on the other side of the house, turn off the generator at the auxiliary disconnect or on-off switch. This meter base, the components are all wiggly. It's a little aged. I'm gonna just take it easy. Take it easy. Last thing I want is for this to break, these to be seized up, and now I'm doing an emergency replacement of the meter base, the service riser. It's more than I asked for right now. It's already 4:40 p.m. We don't want another 22.5-hour day. Let's go. Let's just keep the focus. So these little LLs and LRs are tight. They're real tight. And I'm gonna put just a little bit of head pressure on here just to get it in there. Okay. Next conductor. So, meter base, 200 amp. Lockable throw handle disconnect as required by our utility company. This is the emergency service disconnect as well as the photovoltaic disconnect on the exterior of the house per the 2020 NEC. Check your local codes and standards. You may not be on the 2020. It may not be required. We're not here, but we've got to do this for the solar side of things. So guys, if you're gonna make comments, drop a timestamp. And by all means, man, I've got zeal for the highest standard, but I'm still learning. I'm still growing. So share, bro, share the knowledge, drop the bombs, drop the wisdom, and specify a timestamp so we can all track with you. Reference code, if you will, if you could, and we'll all get better together. We're gonna elevate the common standard, right, across the entire country. Every Sparky on the planet is gonna be better because of you. I don't necessarily have anything to teach you, but you do, I guarantee it. So help me out. Guys, I've been making the mistake of calling this phase A, phase B, right? That's for 3-phase. This is L1, L2, so I apologize. L1, L2. And a single phase because there's one primary conductor, right? On the utility side of the distribution transformer. And it's called 3-phase because there are 3 phases on the utility side, the primary side of the distribution transformer. But single phase has 2 legs, right? L1 and L2, but it's single phase. So here's the scoop. You can strip this sucker back and terminate it in one terminal of each of these.
Okay. Color, color.
What is that? For the utility? Huh. Oh, it's just this, just the ground. I don't even see it up. Maybe I missed it. Yep, color to color. That's there. And then this 2-inch Romex connector goes right there. So you have screws on the outside coming in. And the shorter one connects in there. The shorter cable right here.
Hold on.
So if you abuse it, it will probably pop loose, but I think you probably have what you need. And it's going to be tight. But the goal
needs to go
is
in the jacket, into the Romex connector, and then jacket comes off here.
Yep.
1/4 inch, right?
Yep.
And then
Nice. So I've got a staple here.
Neutral bar.
That's ground.
And each player slug.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ground,
Neutral, 2 hots and a ground, and that's done.
Okay.
Oops, sorry about that. The you'll have to keep it high, as high as possible, so we clear these screws and cover.
Okay.
And it's going to be hard to make that turn, no doubt. I would probably slip the Romex connector onto the cable, clamp it down, and then with the cable being whole, you're going to pre-bend it and get the shape you want, and then kind of work it in there. And it's going to be a fight, but you're a fighter.
Does not need another
2 staples
secure
here,
there?
and we have more where that came from. So you definitely will secure
one
both
each
of
of these
these at least once. These are both go that direction. The longer one is going to go outside once I'm ready for it, into my LB, and then I'll work it from there. Shorter one into this trough. Hardest part right here, getting the last conductor. Work it, work it. I feel like the resi guys have to deal with all these little things here. More space constraints. The commercial guys, I feel like there's a little bit more like, make it big, like the electrical is beautiful. Or on the home, the service equipment is not considered beautiful unless you're an electrician. Minimize it. Make sure the outer insulation is clear and we have a good electrical connection. Nothing but terminal to copper. There it is. Again, we're gonna take it easy on this meter base because it's a little bit wonky. A little bit of age on this sucker. I guarantee if I went full force, it would snap off right there. That lug from the factory is loose. Look at that. Full turn. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna check the torque on that. Look at this one. Look at that one. Holy moly. I'm not even trying. Bro, I'm taking it easy. These things are all going. Check the torque. Check the torque. Okay. Yeah, bro. I like that better. If I could get in a little bit closer. I think I see what's standing in my way there. Just that little knob right there. Closing in, closing in. I like that right there. Oh, beautiful. A meter offset fitting. Oh, it's gorgeous. Give them their nice yellow bushing back. Thing's in great shape. Tighten up that lock nut. Somebody asked a valid question. Hey, it seems like you're often running out of parts. Absolutely fact. I don't have a service van here. I've got the warehouse cargo van, but all of our trucks are dispatched across the fleet. We have 17 unique customers and job sites that we're at on average every single day. And most of those are not service calls. Those are anywhere from, the average job ticket is about $8 grand. For electrical it's about 5, and for solar it's 35. So you do the math. So I don't get a service van. I get an empty cargo van. But that's okay. We'll figure it out. Let's try it again. Fills the hole nicely. You'll get a wasp nest in here, right? Or an ant's nest, or you have something. They'll be chilling in here, bro. Guaranteed. It's not a question of if. They love hiding in electrical equipment. You got to close it up. All right, I see ya. Hold still, hold still. All right, push. Keep coming. I can pull it now. Feed me all you got that you don't need. I don't. Plenty. Is that it? About a 8-foot contingency here. 10, 14. A little healthy on this number. Is that good?
Nope.
Ah. What's it? All right, so I'm gonna put a mark right here so I know where that cable is, because it might accidentally push it back inside. That'll keep me honest. I'm definitely gonna go ahead and cut it to length. The longest conductor is that ground. This is gonna be hard to get through here. There's no doubt about it. I'm not like excited, would be the wrong word to use. Try to get it through there. There's no way I'm gonna get it through there like that. So I'm gonna strip the outside jacket and pull those conductors through one at a time. Bear in mind, this is not Romex. It's not gonna follow the same rules. What you've got to do to determine if this is a permissible action is look at various codes, and one of those being understanding what this inside jacket is and whether it can be used that way. So JT, June 12th, 2022, pretty new. Hey Tim, you wanna pop out here real quick and help me get these conductors through? Sweet. I'm just gonna beat myself up doing it on my own when I've got help. All right, 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1, and one more time. 3, 2. Let me get a heel on that. 3, 2, 1. Nice. I think we did it.
So we're back in the barn. At the beginning of the day we had a sub panel over here. We've taken that out and added this junction box. Ran new feeders with the upsized wire for the voltage drop through here. I'm almost done connecting the flare slugs in here. Just have 2 more terminations here. And as you can see, we just ran all of the conduits that are going into the electrical panel into this junction box. That electrical panel is now in the basement of the residence. We'll be finishing up soon. So we're putting Polaris slugs in this junction box for the hot feeds due to the fact that the wires that we ran back to the house are aluminum and the wires running to these 2 inverters are copper. This is the best connection that we've found to do copper to aluminum connections. I've already loosened the nuts in here. I'll tighten them down now with an Allen key. Polaris slug torque ratings are well above what people can do typically due to it being a free-floating termination device. So we just get them as tight as we can. Once I finish getting these wires into this box and capped, I'll be meeting up with Joel on the other side of the run.
So a few things. First person to tell me what the code reference is for conduits shall be arranged so as to drain gets a virtual hug. I did drill a hole in my LB back there. If water is going to get in, it just is, so I want it to drain. And then I packed duct seal around the pipe, and then we're going to mortar around the outside. So that's going to be a nice sealed up arrangement. And now time to put the LB cover on. We're getting real close to turning power back on. I just want to make things safe. Some people are saying, haha, safe, been unsafe this whole time. You know what? Maybe safe enough. Maybe that's good enough. The disconnect is most definitely in the off position. And I'm gonna go ahead and plug the meter in. I'm just gonna test as we go. Put this cover back on. Leave the handle in the off position until I confirm with Tim. I'm saying this not just for your benefit, but for mine. There it is. Just make sure. These old meters have quite a bit of slop. You never know when one of those stabs is not fully plugged in, but that looks good. Ooh, look at that. A little aggressive. Poor guy. Alright, let's pull out the tester. We just gonna check stuff as we go, right? I'm just checking voltage. Not doing insulation or isolation testing. 256, running a bit hot, as they always do. 127, and we'll just check across from neutral to L2, 128 and change. It's cool. All right, let's put that cover back on. You get like 40% cross-sectional fill in those metal wireways, so it's, I mean, it's full, but you're probably not there. This is a man who gets it. Look at him. Look at him. So we're gonna need to strap up those 2 cables. I'll get some heavy straps because those will be beastly, I can tell. Yeah. 2 straps, 2 spacks. You're good on this wire trough. We'll bring down a number 2 so we can release that and drop the lid. And power that. So this is kind of ugly, but remember, that's going in the Tesla gateway. Power comes in from the meter, disconnect to here. It dumps off to our generation panel, shoots outside. 100 amp overcurrent protection right there. These conductors, we're using the 10-foot tap rule. And we're, what, 3 foot of conductor length, 3.5 tops, so that's good. Article 240 in the National Electrical Code, tap rule number 1 or 1, I think. And then we pop into that trough. From that trough, again, everything's got 200 amp overcurrent protection. We're taking off to the the ATS, and the barn power. So, dang, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh yeah, we got a little ways to go. All right, the trick is do small bunches. This is still de-energized, so do one at a time. We'll get better results. This is gonna be a bit of a beast. How about you guys hold? You guys do the hard part, and how about I do the easy part?
Deal.
Yes. And that is, if we can even get 3 people in there, we're gonna strap these right here. We're gonna strap them both together, just like we did over there, which means get them both up there at the same time.
Oh, getting this pulled back that way.
You can do that.
Or
Tim, you want to try to pull on that one?
pull on
The upper, yep, 3, 2.
3, 2.
That helped our cause, you know it. I'll leave it up to you guys since you have, and I need a washer. Dang nabbit. Got the washer, 2 washers. All right, I'll be right back. That'll stay. And just get to that. You can almost get to the screws. You're gonna throw the disconnect on, and then we'll check. Just make sure everything's looking good down here. All right. Okay, line the line in here, 252. You just never know if things get squirreled around. You've got nothing because it's the same phase, and you just have rain fart.
Those darn squirrels.
Squirrels. All right, let's put this cover on. Somebody want to throw on the house main there?
You ready?
I'm gonna turn this on. Cliff, you want to make sure those inverters come up.
Okay. You ready for house on?
I'm ready.
Is the barn on as well?
Yes. Barn is on.
The breaker got turned back on.
Correct. What the heck did we do today? A whole ton. I wish you could be here with me. This is what we did. We pulled a new set of solar AC inverter outputs from our generation panel, 250 feet through HDPE conduit laid by a subcontractor out to the barn. Each inverter now has a dedicated feed into here. Breaker located in the box. We've got the 40 and the 60. Those are inverters. Here's our main for this panel. Main is temped in to where the Tesla gateway is going to be right here. Tesla Powerwalls are going to sit here. On the exterior of the house, which is where we are, we went from meter to new 200 amp emergency disconnect, doubling as a solar disconnect. And then we popped inside right here to Tesla gateway, pop back to our wiring trough where we make a connection and spin out to the barn and to the gen rack. Boom. So the benefit here is that the customer will no longer experience voltage drop, causing the inverters to over voltage and cut off. They'll be able to capture the sun seamless, continuous way. It's gonna be beautiful. It's 6:56 p.m. The job's a wrap. We'll fill you in on the solar and how it's doing. In a few weeks when we come back to install the Tesla Powerwall, we'll check that out together as well. Subscribe to Electric Pro Academy for real skills to make real money.